If I was gonna start a brand new YouTube channel in 2026, knowing everything that I know now after being a full-time content creator for 5 years, there are 3 really significant things that I would do differently in order to save time, make more money, and feel less frustrated with the YouTube growth process. And in this video, I really don't want to focus on the beginner basics of YouTube growth, because I feel like if you're watching my channel, you already understand the importance of posting consistently and designing clickable thumbnails and all of that stuff. Instead, I want to talk about some specific adjustments that you can make to your mindset and approach on YouTube so that you can be strategic and really see some growth in 2026. When it comes to big picture strategy on YouTube, there are really 2 main approaches: the artist and the entrepreneur. Of course, as with any binary in life, there is a lot of gray area and nuance in between these 2. But I think it can be really informative to figure out which you align with most, because it's really gonna impact how you make your videos and how you make your money. Speaking of which, let's talk about the business models. Basically, entrepreneur creators are using YouTube to find their customers. They're gonna be using their videos to generate traffic to their website where they can sell their digital products, physical products, or services. This can honestly work in so many different industries, but one really great example that I stumbled upon recently is a channel called Space Rex. He has really helpful videos on NASs, which are basically file storage systems, buying guides for which NAS to get, how to set them up. But his business outside of YouTube is actually setting up data storage systems for businesses. And he offers online consultations as well if you want to set up your own NAS. So you can see how his channel works perfectly as a traffic engine to find people on YouTube, build trust with them through the expertise he shows in his videos, and ultimately sell them on his services or his consultations. While yes, many of these creators will probably have AdSense set up, they might do some affiliate sales and the odd brand deal, usually that is not going to be the primary way they make their money. It's going to be through their own products and services. Now, on the other hand, artists use YouTube to, of course, express themselves and their creativity. And through that, they're able to find an audience of fans. And through those fans' attention and support, they're able to find ways to monetize their content and ultimately create more of it. Most of the people that you think of as influencers are gonna fall into this category. Income streams like brand deals, affiliate marketing, AdSense, and sometimes Patreon enable artist creators to fund their life while they continue to post their content. Now, like I was saying before, there can be a lot of blend and gray area between these 2 categories, right? Because you're probably already thinking of influencers who generally have this artist business model, but maybe they also sell merch or have launched some other maybe like consumable product business like coffee or matcha brand. And while those examples definitely exist, I would argue that in those cases, those are usually like a side quest business or something that they've leveled up to after years of having this business model and then eventually wanting to become an entrepreneur as well. Really, the way I see it, the distinction comes down to one question, and that is, what is your goal with YouTube? For entrepreneurs, the goal is gonna be to make money. While for artists, the goal is to make content, sometimes also known as art. Basically, it's like, is the content the means to the goal, like the way you reach your goal, or is making the content the goal itself? For artists, the goal is the content. For entrepreneurs, they use the content to reach their goal, which is selling their products. So where do I find myself on this chart? Well, I have a video editing agency and we primarily find our clients through my YouTube videos, so that definitely tips the scales towards the entrepreneur side a bit. However, I think I identify more as an artist in terms of my approach to content. God, that sounds so pretentious. Like, I honestly don't feel like my videos are art most of the time, but I am prioritizing the artist strategy in terms of I want to have returning viewers, I want to have community, I want to have engagement with the people who watch my videos, and I definitely don't want to have to make videos on the same exact topic over and over again. Honestly, my goal deep down is just to keep making enough money that I can continue doing this for my job. I'm honestly really happy with how much money I'm making each year right now, so I'm not really looking to like super grow or scale that. What's most fulfilling for me is just finding ways to be more creative in how I make my videos. Like, I find that really fun and I love that I get to do it for a job. So that's what I'm focused on, especially this year. Not like growing my income a ton, but just being more creative. And so that's why I feel like, at least in 2026, I feel like I'm more on the artist side of things. So I guess one final question for you. If money was no longer an issue, do you think you would still be creating YouTube videos? I know I would. I was making videos all the time, long before I was ever making money from it. And when I think about my life in a retirement kind of scenario, I think I'd probably still want to be making vlogs. So I think if you said yes, you would make videos even if you weren't making money from it, then you're an artist. But if you wouldn't do it except for the fact that it's helpful for your business and it helps you make money, then I think you're an entrepreneur. And to be super clear, it's not like one approach is better than the other. Like, it might sound like I'm kind of moralizing the artist approach, but I'm really not. If you're using YouTube as a marketing tactic, I think that's really smart. And I think that's totally reasonable. Like, it's okay if you're doing this to grow your business. I just think it's helpful to know which approach is yours, because then you know the success metrics are different. Knowing where you fit in all of this is going to give you clarity on how you want to approach your own content strategy. So for artists, what that's going to mean is prioritizing community over traffic. Another way of putting this is prioritizing engagement over virality. So the success metrics that you're going to be looking for are like high amount of returning viewers. That would also look like a kind of more steady view count from video to video, showing that your same community is coming back time and time again. This is also going to look like a higher proportion of comments, so people that are actually really engaged with your content and wanting to connect with you. The entrepreneur approach is going to be the opposite, so prioritizing traffic over community. So the success metrics there are going to be a high proportion of new viewers. Why does this matter? Well, if you're ultimately trying to sell more of your products and services, you need to be constantly bringing in new customers. If you just have that same returning viewer community, while they might be really engaged with your content, either they've already purchased or they've already decided they're not going to purchase, and so you're not going to have that same business potential. So that's why it's important to be bringing in new people. So what that might look like is variation in the views on your channel. Like, you might have some videos with really low views and some with really high, but as long as you're getting that occasional viral hit, you're still ultimately working towards that goal of having lots of new viewers. So you're gonna find a lot of these entrepreneur channels hitting the same kind of hot topics again and again, but reaching new people. Artists are more so gonna be continually serving that same community, maybe evolving over time, hitting more of a variety of subjects to keep it interesting for those same returning viewers. And finally, for entrepreneur channels, the priority is gonna be on conversions over comments. These types of videos might not have a ton of engagement in the comment section, but as long as you're seeing that conversion rate from viewers heading over to your website and actually making those purchases, that's what's gonna matter to you most as an entrepreneur. So I'm really curious to know, let me know in the comments which you feel you're more aligned with, an artist or an entrepreneur. I'll be really curious to see what the split is, but yeah, you can see how depending on the approach, you're gonna care about really different things, and therefore you're gonna craft your content in a pretty different way. So yeah, let me know, artist or entrepreneur. Whether you're an artist creator or an entrepreneur creator, there is always gonna be some business component to this. Because everybody's gotta make a living, right? One significant part of that monetization strategy is going to be having a website. And I know that might sound intimidating, but trust me, it's not. To prove it to you, I created a brand new website for myself from scratch in just 15 minutes using Hostinger, the sponsor of today's video. Now, while you watch me do that, let me tell you why a website is so important to your creator business. Your website is like your online home as a creator. You own it, so it's not at the whims of the algorithm. It helps you be seen as credible and professional, especially by brands that might want to work with you, but also by your audience and potential customers. Speaking of that, with a Hostinger website, you can sell digital products like courses or templates, or even physical products like print-on-demand merch. You don't need to know how to code to make a website. Hostinger has a really intuitive drag-and-drop design, plus a ton of designer templates to choose from. And as your business needs get more advanced, you can make use of their built-in analytics and SEO, A/B testing, and email marketing tools. So what you're gonna wanna do is get the business plan. I think Hostinger offers some of the best features for creators who are looking to grow their business and monetize, because they've got 0% transaction fees, which means you get to keep all of the profit from your digital and physical product sales. And they've got built-in email marketing tools to help you better reach your audience outside of social media. And what's super helpful for creators is that you get a dedicated link in bio website as well as your desktop website. So you've really got everything that you need for your web presence as a creator in just one subscription. And actually with the New Year sale that Hostinger is currently offering, if you're watching this video soon after I've published it, you can get all of this for just $2.99 US a month if you choose the 48-month plan, so you lock in at that low monthly price. And better yet, you can get an additional 10% off if you use my code Katie at checkout. I know that you're ready to take YouTube and content creation more seriously in 2026, so make creating your own website a part of that plan. You can go to hostinger.com/Katie or click the link in the description. Okay, so the second thing I want you to consider while you're formulating your 2026 YouTube strategy is that educational channels, I think, are really gonna need to pivot if they want to survive the era of ChatGPT. Let me explain what I mean by telling you a little story. Okay, so a little while back, I posted an Instagram story where I was talking about feeling like I was in a slump on YouTube, which since I have gotten out of, and I feel really good about that. But at the time, I was feeling like I was caught in this cycle of like constant low view after low view video. And I had a very well-meaning viewer reply to that Instagram story saying, hey, like, no offense, like, I love your vlogs, but I really don't find myself watching a lot of your tips videos anymore. ChatGPT kind of ruined that for me. And that's when I realized that a lot of people who used to go to YouTube to type in how to grow on Instagram, for example, are now typing that in on ChatGPT instead. Now, whether you should listen to ChatGPT when it gives you answers to questions like that is a different conversation. However, I think we can't deny that a lot of people are doing that. And when it comes to your classic tips and tricks or like list style educational YouTube videos, people are getting that information faster and more easily from just asking ChatGPT rather than like sifting through a list of YouTube results to find your video. And so I think this means that a lot of educational creators are going to have to pivot their approach a little bit. To be clear, I don't think this means that educational channels in the broadest sense on YouTube are like over. It just means that you need to offer something that ChatGPT can't. Your standard kind of advice that a lot of people know, but maybe would be helpful to beginners. That kind of stuff used to be the bread and butter of so many YouTube channels, and I just think it's not gonna fly anymore because it's too easy to find in a faster way. So here's what you're gonna do instead. First, analysis. What are your thoughts, hot takes, or pros and cons on that classic tips and advice that you wanted to share? Instead of just giving us the information, tell us what you think about it. Share more opinions. Number 2, share your personal experience or stories. What have you tried personally and what were the results for you? And finally, inspiration. Instead of teaching somebody how, inspire them to do. Assume that they already know the basics and they're ready to get started. They just need that extra bit of motivation or encouragement to go after it. Transparently, this is something that I'm really heavily considering in my own YouTube strategy for 2026. In the past, tips and advice and tutorials were like the foundation of this channel. But already over the past year or so, I've been trying to move away from just strictly like tips and advice videos to stuff that's a little bit more, I hope, insightful or kind of like analysis based or maybe entertaining or encouraging rather than just simply listing tips. And when I'm making stuff that's more like a traditional kind of like educational video, like this one, to be honest, I'm trying to make sure that I bring my absolute most like fresh, unique, hot off the presses ideas and not like recycling the same tips that you've heard before. And also bringing a bit of a personal perspective of like, these are the things that I'm like literally developing for myself right now. And I'm kind of trying to share that insight with you. And with the goal of hopefully doing this all in as entertaining of a way as possible and as creative as possible, just because honestly that makes it more fulfilling for me and hopefully more fun for you too. Basically, I think a good litmus test for it is if you can take your YouTube video title and put it into ChatGPT and just like tell it, hey, write me a YouTube script for this title. If the talking points that it comes up with are pretty similar to what you're already planning to say, that's maybe a bad sign that what you're saying isn't like fresh or different enough. Moral of the story is, I think as much as we need to be aware that we are competing with TikTok in terms of how entertaining and attention grabbing we need to be, we also need to be aware that as YouTubers, we're competing with ChatGPT in terms of like the information or education we can provide. So just keep that in mind as you're crafting your content if you want it to be competitive in the 2026 YouTube landscape. The hardest part about making YouTube videos is coming up with good ideas, especially considering the level that we need to operate on now. Like the basic ideas that used to do big numbers back in 2022 are just not cutting it anymore. No matter your niche or target audience, you need to have fresh and clever ideas. You need to package them in an enticing way, and ultimately you need to be entertaining. Because look guys, we're competing against TikTok and brain rot. We absolutely need to bring our A game. So something that I've been doing lately to help me come up with more interesting video ideas is something that I've been calling the Frankenstein video formula. In the past, my ideation process was linear. I would come up with a video concept, write a title for it, and then develop the thumbnail design. The problem with that was I would often get attached to a concept, come up with its title, film the whole video, and then by the time I got to the thumbnail phase, I was so attached to the idea that I really wanted to do it, even though I didn't have a strong thumbnail. Basically, it was the sunk cost fallacy. I felt like, oh, I've already put so much work into this, I should just go ahead and post it. But what this ended up leading to was posting videos with less than great thumbnails, which of course meant I wasn't getting the views that I wanted. Instead, with the Frankenstein video formula, you generate completely separate lists of ideas for your titles, your video concepts, and your thumbnails. Then when you plan your video, you pick things off each list and basically stitch it together into one video. This is the Frankenstein part, get it? Hopefully this metaphor makes sense. And you get your little Frankenstein video, right? How cute. This way you've got good quality components in each of these categories from the very start, rather than like starting with a title and then trying to come up with a thumbnail for it just to make it work so that you can get it posted. So let me show you a sample of how this works. So here's a list of my potential title ideas. These are basically phrases that I think are catchy or would be enticing to my audience. And honestly, because of the way they're written, a lot of these could be paired with different concepts depending on the direction I want to take with the video. It's not like they'd end up being clickbait, it's just that there could be several different meanings to them. So that's why it kind of works with this method. Okay, so then I have my list of concepts. These are general ideas that I think would make interesting YouTube videos, stuff that I've been reflecting on lately, things that I want to talk about that I think would be valuable to my audience. You can see I've not worded these in any kind of a interesting way. It's more descriptive. So like this is not going to work as a title on its own, but it's a concept that I could include in a video with a title like one of these. Okay, and finally we have thumbnails. So you can see this is obviously not like a list of images, it's actually taglines. Quick aside here, I'm finding that the thumbnails that perform the best lately are ones that have these short, witty, like clever little taglines on them in text. I think the approach really used to be driving curiosity, like having like a blurred image or a big question mark or like a kind of like Kevin McAllister face on the thumbnail. But I think in 2026, the more strategic approach is almost making your thumbnail a bit of like a meme or a joke. And I think that really draws people in because it kind of proves to them that, you know, you're smart, you're funny, you're clever. Like, I think we're kind of at a point where like, honestly, like AI could generate a YouTube thumbnail that's what I just described, like the kind of face. And so I think that like that human sense of humor and like cleverness is what really catches people and makes them more interested in watching you. Like if you can prove your cleverness and sense of humor in the thumbnail, it's kind of a promise of like, hey, my video won't be boring. Like, look, I'm funny and interesting. I think some of the best examples that I've done, if I do say so myself, are like this thumbnail where I'm like, I'm gonna hold your hand while I tell you this. Or a lot of people commented saying they loved this one. I am cringe, but I am free. Or even this recent one, vlogging in the brain rot era. A lot of people mentioned that that caught their attention. I think there's so much more I could say about how my approach to thumbnails has changed, so I could do a whole video on that, but for now, just know short, quippy taglines, I think, are the way to go with your thumbnails in 2026. Okay, so once you have these 3 lists in place, when you go to make a video, you can pick one from each list. So, for example, I might pick the title, You're Gonna Be a Full-Time Creator in 2026. Here's how. I think for that kind of a title, a concept that would work well is my 12-month roadmap of steps to becoming a full-time creator. And I think a good thumbnail would maybe be the like, don't quit your day job, but I'll have the don't, stroked out. P.S. The nice thing about YouTube is that now there's A/B testing built in for both titles and thumbnails. So what I might end up doing is actually trying multiple of these titles mixed with different thumbnails for each video to see which one works the best. I honestly spend like a ton of time strategizing and designing my titles and thumbnails. So if you'd like an entire video showing the behind the scenes of that, let me know and maybe I could do like a vlog taking you through my process. So I hope these thoughts and reflections on current YouTube strategies has been helpful for you. As always, I think the most important thing to remember is that this is gonna take time. But that's not a bad thing. I think all good things in life are on the other side of effort and persistence. It just makes the accomplishment more satisfying. So try to hold on to that even as you're pushing away this year. And just try not to be discouraged if you're not getting the results that you want right away. Trust me, we've all been through it. We all will go through it again. Even as an established YouTuber that's doing this for my job, I go through seasons where the views aren't what I want them to be. But you know what? You always eventually come out on the other side if you just keep going. The only way to seal in your fate is to quit. As long as you keep going, you keep the possibility alive that you will grow. Also, just wanted to let you know if you're feeling overwhelmed with the prospect of editing all of these videos, you can come work with my team. You can come work with the editor that edits my YouTube videos. I have a small agency, it's called Creatorly Media, of all female video editors, and we work with creators like you to help you stay consistent, make the best videos possible, and not get burnt out. So I will leave the link in the description. It's creatorlymedia.com. If you want to check it out, we'd love to work with you and edit your videos. Trust me, I can tell you from personal experience, it is such a weight off your shoulders to have somebody on your team helping you out and getting those videos edited. You don't have to do this all on your own. As always, I hope you're having adventures and following your dreams, especially in 2026, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!